Hello, everyone. We will just start in approximately 1 more minute. Right, so shall we make a start? So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar focusing on the latest innovations in the lingerie market. We're very honoured to have on board with us today Nichole de Carle. She's a very well-known lingerie designer and also the founder of London Contour Experts. So she'll be talking through the latest innovations and trends within the lingerie market. We will then be passed over to Lorena Bello, who is our Senior Technical Consultant from Style3D Assist, who will then be presenting a live demo of the latest technology innovations around 3D and AI. We would encourage you all to ask as many questions as possible. There will be a live Q&A session towards the end of the session where we'll be able to ask live the presenters the questions that you ask. Okay, so thank you all for joining. Without further ado, I will hand you over to Nichole, who will present to us the 3D threads of evolution.
Thank you, Liz. So here today to talk about shaping the path forward for the lingerie industry. So how has our industry evolved? There's been a massive shift in consumer behavior and industry dynamics. And this is led by all the sexy stuff, the stuff we don't really want to talk about. So the global challenges post-COVID, the political unrest that we couldn't close the door on, the recession that is hit some countries very hard, and then the environmental concerns that as a nation and a global industry, we're very conscious about today. So this is all fast forward by increased consumer awareness through social media. So I feel we're feeling it more now than ever. How has the industry adapted post-COVID-19? So there has been some major supply chain disruptions, and the industry was going through a real pivot. There's been reduced consumer spending and a big shift in shopping habits. So coming out of the pandemic, there was a 64% increase of UK lingerie transactions on mobile in the UK alone. There was a rethink in store experience, and it's led to retailers really having to split their brand assortments for online versus in-store to drive that new customer demand. So as you can imagine, there's a different store customer that's found in store than online. It's just proving that there's different shopping habits and different consumer habits that we're having to adhere to. So there's a rebirth of experiential retail to drive those consumers back in. There was a lot of stores closing, and brands were really thinking about how to create a experiential flagship opportunity. So the biggest takeaway here is there's since been a reuniting of brands collaborating globally with suppliers and manufacturers to revive creativity once more. So this new era of social media has caused some kind of intense competition with traditional players, a rise in new entrants, and a real opening of white spaces, so opportunity. And this has led to growth of micro multinational brands. So those that don't know micro multinationals, they are fast-growing Web3 brands that are thriving internationally, mainly through digital e-commerce rather than retail-led. There's been an uptake of virtual and augmented reality technologies offering immersive experience for consumers. This obviously enhances the shopping experience and reduces the likelihood of returns if executed well. So 34% of consumers use social media to discover new brands. So it's still very relevant. There's also been an uprise of unique customer experiences. So customized is the key. Brands are focused on AI and data analytics with insights into individual preferences for consumer retention. So we're enhancing customer satisfaction and loyalty long term. So this is more about retaining customer. With that, there was a big sustainability shift, and it's consumer driven, demanding eco-friendly and ethically produced garments. So legislation is put in place mainly by the CSRD, which is the Corporate Sustainability Directive, instructing that European companies report on social and environmental rules with audits. So what I'm trying to say here is that brands are having to be more conscious about their traceability and sustainability when it comes to transparency. So product passports are really leading the way for this, and brands are starting to explore that and bolt on. So globally, greenwashing is still a major concern. We know that, but these sanctions will translate worldwide with time. And the other really big movement is the trend around inclusivity and diversity. So that was pre-pandemic a niche, and has been commercialized since with broader representation. This diversity and inclusivity card is really driving consumer buying power right now. So bearing that in mind, technological advancements such as smart fabrics, Web3, and advanced manufacturing techniques is really driving innovation in this space. And in all honesty, the conversations I'm having, the main concern in industry is how to integrate these technologies like 3D and AI seamlessly into their workflow with a low impact on cost. So we believe that technology innovation has the power to streamline design, to really strengthen marketing and consumer experience, saving time, cost, and waste, all the yummy stuff. So Style3D offers a path forward into the future of contour design. The question here is why 3D and why Style3D? So from our perspective, we partner with Style3D, and for ease of product, visualization, and functionality, for me would be first and foremost the most important takeaway. So 3D rendering allows designers to visualize moving fabrics, colors, patterns, cuts on diverse 3D virtual body types, pre-sampling. The most important thing there is pre-sampling. Before you've even sampled the goods, you can visualize it in actual. Fabric scanner hardware we're using, it speeds up the accuracy of fabric visualization. Creating a print or embroidery in Adobe Illustrator would take a designer more than 2 hours to master. It takes 20 minutes to scan and render a file with a fabric scanner. So it's quicker. That soft body technology is being used to test design functionality, pattern making, grading, efficiency for diverse shapes and sizes. Now, this is in the works, and the soft body technology has still got a way to go. In all honesty, the challenges there are it probably doesn't fully understand wires and cup technology, but Style3D is moving faster than most, and I have no doubt that it will get there. The overall takeaway here is again uniting. So it gives global accessibility of suppliers to upload fabrics for visualizing product movement on body simulations. So it's testing fabric performance with the brands. We're bringing the supply chain and the brands together. Secondly, can 3D and AI fully replace ads? So Style3D's hyper-realistic 3D and AI tools can be used to replace product photo shoots, facilitate pre-orders to help with waste, and will in time fully restore photo and video ad campaigns. It's not there yet with the video, but As you can see on screen here, this is a 3D render, 3D design. An AI filter has been applied to create a hyper realistic image. So we can use these tools for e-com, for lookbooks, for campaigns. It's crazy. And we've not even made the garment yet. So the importance of innovation technology in addressing these industry challenges. So how 3D can transform the industry. That's pretty much what we're saying. How can it make a difference? So I think we need 3D, Style3D, to continue to unite the supply chain with an end-to-end solution. So these are a few examples. These are takeaways of how I feel, or we as a group feel, that it will change the industry as a whole. So 3D design helps the brand owner, the manufacturer, the supplier, and consumer realize the product quicker. That's one of the most important things. The brand can improve speed to market. The manufacturer produces less samples pre-production to help with waste. Fabric suppliers can make to order or carry less stock items. And consumer can get involved in brand consumer testing earlier. Now that's incredible. Imagine we can develop a product in 3D using AI to make it more hyper-realistic without having to make the samples and consumer test it before we even prototype it or manufacture it. That is insane, that we can actually use the consumer to better test whether the product will sell or not. But overall, further reducing overproduction and waste. So these are a few. Feel free to ask questions at the end, or even share your thoughts if there's any other 3D positives that can transform the industry. These are just a few of ours. So how we do it. So our end-to-end solution with Style3D, the LC group has tapped into a few partnerships in order to drive this end-to-end service. So we have a design team, but we tend to fast forward that creative process with trend forecasting agency Concept Paris. Their books give us a faster approach to realizing ideas. Aside from that, you can also use AI tools to plug into a trend forecasting archive like Concepts Paris, or even a brand archive, in order to look at the DNA of the brand before starting to build a collection. We use Style3D for scanning the fabrics, for the stretch testing, and to apply that to soft body technology. Bodywear Lab is one of the businesses within the LC group. We finalize the technical detail and fit requirements needed. We use Style3D to build the avatar according to body type and shape and size. And then we create the design in 3D. Next step, Style3D can be used to use different fabric scans to render new colorways, even fabric variations for range plan approval before we've even started sampling. And then back to Bodywear Lab, we can use the AI filter applied to design to make that hyper-realistic image for marketing use. That's when the sampling process to pre-production begins. And that's where the factory tech packs are produced in 3D. And this is very forward thinking, but this is what we're already adapting into our business model. And then HighSculpt, another company within the LC group, it's a marketing and PR company. They use the AI enhanced filter to create campaign material, e-com images for marketing, and selling materials in to actually sell to retail. So all of this is pre-done while the development of the product is in motion. So why London Contour Experts, briefly? This is a short video case study of a client of ours, Jean-Paul Gaultier. So we started with them. We were tasked to really rethink what Jean-Paul Gaultier as a business is all about, dip back into the archive and find some of their kind of key hero products in order to drive a small capsule collection that they could rebuild the top line. We didn't only do that from a creative physical point of view, but we also used 3D and integrated that end-to-end solution within this build. We took it one step further, and in the early stages of the soft body, we started to then experiment with how the soft body catwalk could be used as a part of that digital preview, the campaign before it actually hit the catwalk. So that's a small example of what can be done and how we've integrated end-to-end with digital and physical. So a bit more about what we do. We have a 360-degree service spanning strategy, marketing, product design, sampling, manufacturing. The biggest takeaway here is 3D and AI design capabilities with our own London factory. So we can really create small MOQs for testing new ideas, so we can innovate, and that's what the industry needs right now. We can even create digital twins, so a digital design with a physical product, pre-production. We have large factory partners to help grow businesses to scale. So we don't actually just work on a small scale. We work with established brands to actually realize that product in production. And we have tailored branding solutions with in-house marketing and PR agency in order to create those product campaigns in 3D. So all under one roof, localized and sustainably managed. This is how we can help. So who we work with brands and retailers who are launching new product categories, whether in physical or in 3D. If you've bought a new business or there's some acquisition and the business needs restructuring and needs a new innovation plan, we also can help. If you're looking at an existing license and want to build a product range from that, we have the foundation in the group to do that. And startups for proof of concept, whether digital or physical, we can also help. So just as a roundup, on the left here, you can see a 3D rendered design, and then with the AI filter applied, how that can go from a product design use to a marketing end use. Any questions, please feel free to note them, and happy to answer them at the end of the session. And if you want to shoot us a question or two, get in touch. Our email is at the bottom there. So thank you very much. I'll hand you over to Lorena.
Thank you, Nichole. I'm going to start. Sorry, 1 second. I have to. Yeah. Okay. Share my screen. So I'm going to make a quick presentation demonstration of some of our tools, some of the tools also Nichole has referred on her presentation. So I'm going to start talking about fabric, because fabrics are something very important, especially in all the industries, but especially for lingerie. Here you can see how you can digitalize and create hyper-realistic fabrics where you can, this is from a scanner, taking all the physics information and also all the maps that make the fabric look realistic in 3D as it is in real life, and also perform the same way it performs in real life. Also, the tool is very useful because you can really, for example, here, take a fabric and running an algorithm, create the rapport, very, very simple, apply different physics. In this case, you have different options. It's different if you scan directly a fabric, but you can also create a digital fabric from scratch and see how it performs. Further, you can also modify the fabric very quick, changing, for example, the colors and also creating the different maps, very simple. Here we are creating the normal map and also the transparency that is going to allow us to pass from a simple image to a mesh. It's creating, and also we can test different ways because we can see if we want to create it smaller or we want to create it bigger, anything. We can do the same with any kind of print we have designed. Indeed, I designed this print with iCreate. That is one tool we have that also allow us to do that. And we can test within the software in different shapes, so we can see if we like the placement, or we like the print, or we like the size, or we prefer to make it smaller, and everything we can do also before producing anything, and we can use later on other softwares. We can also communicate from the software to our cloud, that it will allow you to, as we are going to see later, to share and also to work in a collaborative way. So we can decide whether the fabric is public or private. We can also make color variations of any fabric. Of course, we have all the Pantone colors inside. So we can, for example, in here, I'm making a color variation. And I also going to upload this color variation to my cloud. So later on, I will be able to use this fabric in a studio for my 3D projects, or also to share with any of my colleagues and get their feedback. Here you can see how it's just easy to save and click and have another variation. And here we are in the cloud, and within the cloud, we can see the fabric we have created and also the variations. We have the two colors, but we have also the possibility to continue editing in here, changing the size or maybe changing the angle. Now we are moving to Studio and Cloud. Studio is our 3D tool. You have different 2D and 3D tools in order to produce whatever you want, different fabrics, garments, avatars, and things that are preset. Also, with our avatars, you can personalize them as you want, expressions, animations, and of course, you can modify the size, and you have very accurate measures, especially for lingerie. And we have a lot of controls to create different types of breasts, modifying the size, the height, the distance, the size of the caps, upper or lower, also the roots. We can also create different caps, asymmetric caps, because we can have, for example, a client that needs something custom, and we can do all this in order to fit our necessities. Here we have an example of different breasts created and rendering within a studio. We have also the soft body. What that means, here I'm trying to move, but the body is not soft. You can see here, once I apply the soft body, how the soft parts of the body, like the breast, they are moving. But further, we can also do fittings. Here we are seeing how the fabrics we apply affects to the fitting. For example, if I change the fabric and I simulate, I can see a lot of red because the fabric has not stretching, and that means that it's not allowing the pattern to stretch. We can also test not only the fabric, we can also test the pattern itself, no matter the fabric we have applied, and see where the parts are more or less fitted, and also check how is the difference, how is the stretching of the pattern in 3D. But we can also check with the soft body, even though it's still a beta, how it affects to the pattern. So for example, in here, I have this pattern that is a little bit smaller than it should, but nothing happens. But when I apply the soft body, I can really see how the pattern is pressing the breast, how you see how the meshes are being deformed. So now I'm going to do this test also with a correct pattern. So now my pattern is a little bit larger. I can do the body pressure, and in hard body is exactly the same. But if I change to the soft body, now I can see how the breast and the bra is okay with the body, is not pressing the breast. So even though soft body is something very new, we are still developing, we have arrived very, very far. This is, for example, how easy we can apply different fabrics. We can see where we want to place them. And also, and this is very important in this case, how easy I can symmetry the pattern to the other part. So once I have one part that is ready, the other is just one click and I have it done. So this makes my work very, very fast. Also create different variations of one bra. If I have the main shape, I can apply any other kind of fabric, lace, or print and create variations very fast. We are going to do also in here some examples. I want to hide, for example, these parts because I want a model that is different. I can also change the colors, looking for any kind of colors. Of course, we can look for any Pantone color we have. Decide if we like, we don't like. And it's super simple to make very, very fast modifications and variations. And for example, here, I'm going to create one with a print. The print I used previously on fabric. So I create the fabric, and now I have the same fabric in Studio, and I can do a new version in here. To change the rest of the color to match whatever I like. So really the time of creating new ideas and producing new content is super fast. Here I'm seeing with ray tracing that I'm going to explain right now. So how can I see in real time? Applying another different fabrics. So I have now 3 different versions in 2 minutes. With also ray tracing, the difference is in here on the right, I'm trying to do a normal render that is fast, but you see it's still preparing. And on the left, I have the render done. Is Also amazing, the quality of the ray tracing rendering. This is something that both for rendering or for animation is 10 times faster than a traditional render. Of course, we have the possibility of create any kind of animation. We have access to a marketplace with different animations, avatar, poses, and so on. We can customize them. And this is also created with ray tracing, just to see how the movement of the avatar and the garments are. The same way we can create, we have different presets of lighting and different presets of scenes. So we can see which one we prefer and customize. And from here also, ray trace rendering is allowing us to connect with the AI snapshot. That is what also Nichole talked before. So from here, we can connect with our cloud and with our own AI. We can use a model we have as a reference. We can use the avatar as a reference, or we can pick one model in here. And once we have selected, we can use the background we have in 3D, or we can use a color background, whatever we prefer. Also, we can decide if we can refine or not the clothes, and we can generate. What is going to do that is going to mix the avatar and the AI and produce an image like that. Also, we are connected to the cloud from Studio, so we can upload any of our styles to the cloud, so we can have a repository where we can collaborate with our colleagues internally or even externally, send to clients. I'm going to upload to a folder where I have my other styles, and we are going to see how easy we can upload this. And once we have, we can share this style. From here, with the QR code, we can share with anyone. And we can also, for example, replace the cover if we want to put it, for example, like with the model we have created. And this is something we can send. What we can do inside in here, we can also modify the style within the cloud or decide not to modify. That is up to us. In this case, it's allowed to modify. So we can pick also fabrics from our library. This is the ones I created previously on Fabric and I upload. And now it's super easy. I can create also other variations of my style. I can save them. I can, for example, change also the colors in here. I still have in the Pantone library and also the Coloro. Okay, I can add these colors. Of course, I can do annotations, for example, for my team. Please change also the lace and adding a modification so we can still creating a collaborative way of working. And of course, I can save this new version I have done and leave it in there. So right now I have the original version and I also have this new version I have created. And from here, I'm going to stop. If anyone wants to scan the code, you can scan the code and you can play as I have done with the fabrics and the things. I'm going to continue. with the video. We can have also access to the marketplace from a studio and also from the cloud directly. And the marketplace, we have more than 50,000 items with the styles, prints, and so on. And of course, different styles in fabric. And later, we can also create frame books that can be whatever you want, a lookbook or wherever. This is an example I created. In here, I put the picture and I also link the style I have created. So if you share this, the person that received it can also play with the 3D and see, view also on detail. And of course, for example, in here, I have changed the background before. I can put a light, dark background. I can also change the lighting. I can also link not only an style, I can upload just the bra or the panty, as I did in here. And the same, take a look on it. And this is all another example of a model. And later on, we can also add videos. And this is, of course, an animation made on a studio of some lingerie. And as before, okay, this is the, I was lying there, but I cannot put another time. I can share later if you want the QR, so you can also play with that. And this is all. Thank you very much. As Nichole said, if you have any question, we'll be happy to reply to them. And Liz, this
Yes,
to you.
thank you, Lorena.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And anyone that's been involved in the 3D world for the last couple of years can see the real evolution of technology, particularly for the lingerie market. And just to add here, the actual soft body isn't a third party imported. It's actually been developed by our technology team and our R&D centre. So it's real innovation that we're seeing here. And already we're in our third launch of the soft body, and we're expecting to launch a more evolved, even more fit, accurate avatar before the end of the year as well. So thank you everyone for your participation. We have had a few questions. Some came in directly from the chat. So I think, Lorena, this was would be one for you. It's from Charlie Stevenson. It's whether the soft body can be used for fitting purposes accurately. And will the avatar and soft body move and uplift when the 3D pattern is amended? And can the 3D flatten, boost and project on the soft body? So there's a few questions there. So I think it's just more about, you know, what performance can the soft body do in terms of fitting for lingerie?
Okay, we have to realize first that the soft body is still a beta, and this is the first thing. And when we click soft body, we see soft body beta. No, so this is first message we important to realize. No, it's a beta. So even it is performing really well in terms of animations, in terms of what you see. You know, it's not everything is static and rigid. You can see some movement and you can also feel some things. It's not perfect and it's not a human body. So that is the point. We are working on a more bold body where we have soft and hard parts to make it even more realistic. So you can count on it, you can do things with it, you can mix the soft and the hard body in order to do the fittings, in order to check, but also in real life, no? Sometimes you use shapes that are hard, and we have used them to create and to produce for years, and no one was expecting, no, to our mannequins to be soft. So it's a real evolution, but we have to be aware that it's still something that will evolve even more. So we can use, but it's not 100% accurate or perfect. But this, I think, is very, very good also to test different things.
Okay, thanks, Lorena. And there's one in the chat from Alexa, and I think maybe Nichole, you can perhaps answer this one. It's talking about how much lead time do you think can be saved by using digital tools in the lingerie development cycle?
It's yeah, it's a
just to put you on the spot.
It's a hard question to put your finger on, but there's many variables in that whole product cycle of how to build it. But I mean, probably on average for us, it cuts down 2 sample rounds and the whole decision-making element in design. So I'd say 2 months, maybe 3 with a bit more practice. But yeah, it's definitely helpful, more in decision making than fit right now, but the fit element will come, and we hope to be one of, you know, the companies actually at the forefront of testing it. So it's good to get on it now, isn't it?
Exactly, and that 2 to 3 months is hugely significant when you're, you know, trying to react to consumer trends and you want to be more strategic in your buying process. You know, every efficiency helps within making those decisions. And then there was another question just talking about customization of the avatar. Is there a way that we can adjust and move the measurement side of things? Lorena, I think that's more aimed at you. Things like the underbust and the crotch areas.
Yes, I'm very focused on the breast on this demonstration, but of course you have more than 70 features. I think even more, because right now with the new avatars, we have increased the breast features at the same time, so maybe near to 80. So also both of the models, the more curvy models I showcase in the later part, you know, that I also did the AI, and the other model were made with the same customization. So really you can up the crotch, open it, also because sometimes you need more the avatar not performing like a human, more performing like a mannequin, because you want to produce like a render and make it like very realistic, like it were fitted on a mannequin, you know. So you can really customize everything, both for fitting or both for creating a 3D visualization, no? And more for maybe marketing purpose, or what Nichole said at the beginning, communicate to customers and approach to them in a very, very early stage. And that is great. You can really customize a lot.
Lots of points there to add. There's another question from Charlie Stevenson in the chat. How long does it take to train and use this tech effectively? Not to Lorena's standard, but to use proficiently. So, Lorena's relatively new actually to Style3D, so she's not long used the software, but yeah, as you can see, she's learned it very quickly. So Lorena, perhaps you can answer that question.
You know, it depends on how much you are going to be willing to practice. This is like I always said, this is like going to get your driving license, and another thing is to be, you know, a Formula One pilot. You know, it depends on your dedication, but of course, it's something that if you have the willingness and you dedicate a little bit of time, you can achieve amazing results in a short time. But you have to dedicate some time to that. But I think is and also there is different if you have some knowledge or not. But I think you can achieve in a shorter time that you can imagine incredible results.
If it's helpful to add to that as well, I think we've been to use it efficiently into our end-to-end solution. It was about 12 months it can be quicker. But I mean, we're now integrating the team to use it in full, and I think that's going to be probably about 3 months. So it depends on what level you want to use it, but yeah, for us, I think it's a constant moving vehicle. It's constantly developing, so we're constantly learning from it. But to have the basic skill, I'd say, yeah, it took us a year in training from not understanding 3D to kind of fully understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, Nichole, it depends as well if you've got any existing digital experience, and it depends on the process of implementation as well, whether it's an individual designer or actually using it as part of a workflow for a larger business. Because within a larger business, the idea tends to be that you will develop your core blocks or shapes, and then the designer will take those and amend those. So the heavy lifting, or let's say where it's the stitching side of things, kind of can be eliminated. So yeah, I'd say it really varies on experience, and you know how much time the team have to actually learn it, and can focus on learning the technology. I think you've also added, Charlie, how do you need to have good pattern cutting understanding before designing on here? So maybe both Nichole and Lorena can answer that one. Yeah,
I'm not a pattern maker. So can reply to you. I have a pattern maker background, and of course you need to understand a pattern because you have to see it like if we're in real life. But you can always look to real garments. You can always look to garments we have on our marketplace and see how they are constructed and try to understand. And once you start practicing, you will very, very, soon understanding how they are constructed, how you have to create them, and so on. So it's something that you can also learn, because at the end, I think it's very important to address that if you are going to produce in real life, you will need to be reviewed by a pattern maker that is a professional of the construction of the garments. But even if you don't have pattern making knowledge, you can use the software and you can start doing amazing things.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to add to that, I think it depends on the objective. I mean, when we started out prototyping and experimenting with 3D, we were considering it as a visualization tool and a way of speeding up that process. But I suppose now in phase 2, it's important that there is that element of pattern cutting. So it's that technical team coming together with the design team in order to realize how instrumental that process becomes if you use Style3D as more of a fit guide. So that's if we look at our infrastructure, we've got that technical element and that design element coming together in order to realize how to use Style3D not only for visual but for fit. So I think it is important depending on the objective.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, I think the foundational understanding of how to construct together a garment, I think is key, particularly if you are learning the stitching element of the 3D technology. But yeah, like you say, there's lots of users that haven't got the pattern cutting knowledge, and easily they can use the solution themselves. There is quite a technical question from Suishish. Apologies if I've not pronounced your name correctly. I saw previously you asked a question around AI. AI is moving so quickly. So every couple of weeks we see new releases from our R&D team, always, trying to bring together new generative AI tools and also those around fitting. So currently today, there is no real recognition of the different bra sizes from AI. But as we're using the tool more and more, we are starting to notice a pattern of being able to do more inclusive sizing. So I think it will only be a matter of time before the intelligence will be there within the solution. And then your second question is probably out of my comfort zone. I don't know about MetaQuest, but I'm sure someone in our team will have experienced this, particularly in our Asian regions, because we do a lot around virtual reality and using more of the metaverse type of environments to bring in our avatars. So, I mean, Lorena, can you answer around this? The question is it possible to access my designs through Web3 stores, and can customers engage in virtual fitting sessions using their avatars via MetaQuest? Additionally, for mixed or spatial reality, what levels of accuracy can be expected in customers' virtual fitting experiences? If I design the garments in 3D, Furthermore, is there a mechanism available to edit my designs using virtual reality headsets? So again, quite a few questions talking more about the virtual reality side. So Lorena, I'm not sure if you can answer that, or it's something we may need to respond later after the question.
I think I can give a very short reply, just some questions, because it's very open question with a lot of questions inside, and not all then I can reply. Of course, whatever you can create with a studio, you can move to another system, whatever, because we allow to export in any of the standards inside the 3D world. And also we have a tool we can communicate and a plugin we can communicate with Unreal Engine, and you can do different things. In order of the fitting, with virtual fitting, with the pass and so on, you have to consider that right now the Web3 and the tools like the virtual mirrors and the other things, they are using only very low poly 3D assets. And that's imply that these low poly 3D assets are not as realistic and are not as accurate as one high poly asset. What that means that for sure the kind of fitting or overlapping that you are going to do is still in a very, it's like the Snapchat filters. They are very nice, but you can feel they are not very accurate. For example, if something in jewelry works very well, but in clothing it's still something to do. But you can, for sure, you can have this flow going back and forth, but I don't know what you are going to get is going to have this accuracy, but it's due not of our technology, it's due of the overall technology is right now and the needs of improving that. And later on, other questions, yeah, more using the headset and other things we have to address to other people, because I never use that, so I cannot reply on that way.
Yeah, so perhaps with that one we'll do some follow-up, because I know in other countries they're more advanced in terms of the virtual reality use of Style3D, and we have our Style3D simulator, our plugin to Unreal Engine. So I think for that one perhaps we'll follow up with you if that's okay. And then we've just had an additional question from Blue Smith. Is there any understanding of seamless yarns or molded cups in Style3D?
Sorry, on seamless? I didn't understand the question.
Is there any understanding of seamless yarns? So can we work with seamless yarns, I guess, or seamless products or molded cups in Style3D?
If it's helpful, we've been using seamless yarns for design and for a visualization tool, but not so much for the pattern, because the approach is different when it comes to knitting. So yeah, very much for the visualization and the accuracy of what seamless would look like on a soft body. When it comes to molded cups, I think Style3D are working on that. I don't know, that's probably a question I'll shoot back your way, because when we last spoke, 3D the cups and the wires were, you know, something that we want to get to, but I don't know if it's in full motion. We don't use it for that yet.
Mm-hmm. No, there are things that we are, as I said previously, we are working on, and the good point is the technology and everything is going so fast that we hope we will have soon. But what you can do is you can modify and adjust the avatar. What you can create is your different styles of cups and different things in order to create. This is what I showed you with the different bodies, the different breasts. No, in order you can create a visualization and a kind of fitting. But it's more for visualization than for fitting, to create the visualization of how the bras, for example, are going to look in real life and making these shapes, no? Creating you the shape. Because, of course, we have gravity going down, but we do not have still, we have, but not as much as in real life, the gravity going up, like when you put a real garment on your body. So there are still some limitations in the technology in general, no? That compared with the real world. I mean, the technology is super evolved, but real world is not is not that exactly trained. It's like 90% a train of the reality.
Yeah, and I would add there, like I say, we're constantly evolving the soft body, and you know, one of the focuses now is to get more of the compression, the underwiring, and more of the you know, more fitting elements of the solution more accurate. And like I say, every couple of months we release a new version. There's always some new technical elements to that release. Okay, so is there, I think that's all the questions then, Lorena and Nichole. I'd just like to add as well, just watch this space. So we've announced recently our partnership with London Contour Experts, and we will be announcing more activities and events going forward. And we really want to try and help educate the lingerie market together with both our skill sets around the evolution of technology for the lingerie market in particular. Okay, so if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out to Nichole or myself, and thank you all for attending. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.